Here is an overview of the Cwicly Video Block. Videos are the best and fastest way to communicate ideas and values to users. The Cwicly Video Block allows you to embed any video hosted on third-party sites, such as YouTube or Vimeo, and your own server. In the Gutenberg Editor, let's add a video block. As you can see, a default Cwicly video is automatically added as a URL source as well as its thumbnail. In order to set up your own video URL, you can either simply paste in / type in your video's URL, or you can select the Media Library search icon, which will open up your WordPress media library, where you can select any video in that library. Once the desired video is set up, its thumbnail automatically updates. You could leave it here, but as you already know, we like to offer as much customization as humanly possible. Of course, you have the option to tweak how your video acts / is actioned in the video panel, as well as how it looks from head to toe in the Div Overlay Panel, as well as with the use of the advanced properties. Before we delve into these different properties, let's first quickly clear up the difference between using a video block and using a background video. For those who don't know, in the background panel of the Advanced tab, you can set a video type background, which you can apply to either a div or a section. From there, you can choose either an MP4 link or a YouTube video link. Then you can style it from the current tab to set placeholders, background colors, as well as all the advanced properties available. However, all of these styling possibilities are at hand for both the background video and video block with the use of the overlay div, which we will explore further along in the video. Thus, an inevitable question arises: what is the difference between using a video block or a background video? Basically, it depends on the purpose. If you wish to exclusively use a video as a background with visual motive, in other words, for purely aesthetic reasons, the background video is the way to go. However, if you wish to use a video as a block that a user can interact with and gain information from by viewing it, the video block is the way to go. Moving onwards, the video panel, found in the primary tab, allows you to specify how / when your video is actioned, with or without sound, and so on. At the top, we have the start and end fields. Here you can precisely choose when you want your video to start playing and when you want it to stop. This is great for those who only want to show a specific clip in relation to a specific topic. And for those wondering, they are in seconds. So let's say that I want my video to start at the 10-second mark and end at 20 seconds. I can simply set 10 in the start field and 20 in the end field. Now let's update the page and see the front end. When we select the video, it starts and finishes where expected. Beneath that property, we can see the autoplay and mute properties. As their name indicates, they will autoplay and / or mute your video. However, it's important to point out that your video will not autoplay without the mute property toggled. Naturally, the mute property doesn't need the autoplay property to be toggled to work. We can check this out on the front end. There, our video starts without being actioned and there is no sound to be heard. Then we have the loop property, which, as you can guess, will loop until eternity your video. This could come in handy for short videos that users would find useful to be repeated. Once again, let's see this on the front end. As you can see, once our video reaches the end, it gets automatically looped. The player controls toggle, as you can probably guess, allows you to choose whether you want the player controls to show or not. Below this setting is the modest branding toggle, which basically makes the YouTube branding less flashy so that users can better focus on your video's branding. The last toggle, privacy mode, once toggled, improves privacy when embedding videos on third-party sites. In other words, YouTube won't collect information about visitors to pages on your site that have YouTube videos embedded on them unless visitors interact with those videos. Unless the user interacts with the video, YouTube promises that it won't store information about them. We always recommend to have this property toggled as a way to better protect the user's privacy and information. Next, we have the aspect ratio drop-down menu. You can choose the one that better suits your needs and overall look. These aspect ratios correspond to the various sizes YouTube allows you to upload. Before we move on to completely changing how this video looks with the use of the Div Overlay Panel, at the top of the source panel we can observe that a video can either have a static or dynamic source. A static video source will rely on a static URL provided by you, the user. It will not update automatically depending on the source and relies on manual changes. On the other hand, a dynamic source allows you to specify an image source that might change depending on the different parameters available or set at the time. Thus, it will update automatically and on ACF Pro dynamic data with the use of a video field group. ACF, which stands for Advanced Custom Fields, is a tool you can use to quickly set up dynamic elements. So let's set the value to ACF. However, the ACF group field is empty since we haven't created one for our video block. First, we can update this page and exit it. In the Wordpress dashboard, we can quickly set up an ACF Field Group by heading to the Custom Fields tab. Here, we can select the Add New button at the top to add a new field group. Once you have added an appropriate field group name, you can select the Add Field button. You can set a field label and set the field type to either text or URL. Either work fine. Don't forget to publish your field group. Let's now head back to our previous page. As you can see, now when we open the ACF group and field dropdowns, our freshly created group appears. However, for the moment our video will not change appearance since we haven't added any URL link to our ACF video field. We can quickly do so by selecting the arrow on the right-hand corner and paste in our desired URL link. Always remember to update your page once you have finished entering dynamic data in field groups. And voila, our expected video appears. As a side note, whether you decide to edit this block with a dynamic or static source, they will both pick up whatever is styled. We now move on to the Div Overlay Panel. This panel, once toggled, allows you to completely customize the appearance of your video block. As its name indicates, it adds a div overlay to your video block, which allows you to add a background, text, and link colors, but most importantly, you can add whatever block from the block inserter you want. You can create a much more complex looking video block, or even customize it so that it looks better integrated with your site's look and feel. It's essentially a feature that allows you to create a whole new video thumbnail, which you can use throughout your website for whatever video, which is great to create homogeneity. However, the div overlay isn't just a pretty face. It is also handy to speed up your website since the overlay doesn't load the video/video scripts until the user clicks on them. It basically works as a user-interacted lazy load that works for any type of video and not exclusively YouTube. For the purpose of showing off this feature, we will be styling this video block in two ways. The first very simply, and the second a little bit more detailed with the use of several blocks. However, you can choose to use as many or as little blocks to this div overlay as you like. It's entirely up to your designing choice. We can start by adding a paragraph block, which we will use to display our video's title, and an icon block, which will act as a play button. I will quickly style them. You can change the direction of how these blocks are placed by using the flex directions. I will also set center so that they are placed in the middle of the overlay div. As a reminder, setting a column direction will set your elements on top of each other. Conversely, setting a row direction will place your elements next to each other on a row. Now heading to the background panel, we can set an image type and choose from either a static or dynamic source. For this example, I will be using static data. Next, we can set a dark overlay so that we can better read our paragraph and play icon button. For a more pleasing look, I would like my paragraph to be placed in the top left-hand corner so that it can be less prominent. We can do this by placing it absolutely so that our icon remains in a central position as if our paragraph did not exist and take up room. We can do so by selecting our paragraph and heading to the Layout panel. Here we can set an absolute position, placing it 35 pixels from the top and 35 pixels from the left. I am setting both these properties at 35 pixels instead of 0 in order to create a breathing space between the paragraph and the video block's border. We can even add a border radius so that the video block has more rounded corners. However, remember to hide the overflow in the Layout panel to avoid a square overflow out of the div, which would have a counter effect. We can also quickly add a hover effect to make it more pleasing for user interactivity. Switching to hover mode, we can set a white overlay color and set a black text color to the div overlay. Back in normal mode, in the Effects and Transitions panel, we can set a 1-second duration. For our icon, the process to add a hover effect is a little different since we'll need to target it differently. Of course, this can be achieved with relative styling, which naturally the Video Block/Div Overlay supports. As a reminder, relative styling is an exclusive Cwicly feature that allows you to target the style of children blocks from the parent block and modify their styles from said parent's editor panel. Basically, it is visual CSS rules. First, let's copy our icon's class name that we will be needing for our relative style rule. We can also set a 1-second duration in the Effects and Transitions panel for a smooth animation. We can simply add a relative style in the primary tab by selecting the plus symbol. Then we can select the rules icon. Here, we can rename it to a familiar name such as icon. Then we can set the combinator to descendant, select a type to class, and lastly paste in our icon's class name. We can now open the Relative Styles editor. Switching to hover mode, in the icon panel, we can set a black icon color and set a 50 pixel sized icon so that when users hover on the video block, the icon smoothly gets bigger. Of course, we can copy link this block and paste it in. Then all you need to do is set the div overlay and add the necessary information. Selecting the first video block, we can also set an equal left and right 20 pixel margin. And there you have it. For a relatively simple video block to set up, the result is a sleek and modern look, which is a nice change from similar looking videos. As mentioned previously, I'm going to build another video block with the div overlay to show how flexible and malleable this block truly is. However, in an effort to keep this video centered more so on the video block than design, we will speed up the process. And there we go. This design is original and attention-grabbing, which is, as you probably know, important. Last but not least, the video block is naturally responsive, meaning on different screen sizes, the appearance and contents of the video block can be modified suitably. For example, for our first design on tablet mode, we can change the size of our paragraph and icon blocks to something more appropriate. And that's the way the Cwicly Video Block works.